Welcome to Detroit Speaks, where the heart of the city has a voice. We lift up the stories, struggles, and successes that shape Detroit's future. Real talk, real people, real Detroit.
Real Detroit.
So today is election day, and Stephen Grady, my co-host, what's your feeling about today's election and what you think the outcome is going to be?
Well, Keith, I've been visiting the top 50 polls citywide, and the turnout thus far has not been as strong, I think, as folks were anticipating. But there are really four components of voting. As you know, there's folks who year over year get absentee ballots. There are people who request absentee ballots. There's early voters. And then there's today, which is election day.
They call it street votes.
Street votes, yes, absolutely. So I think once all of those components are put together, I believe the clerk's office was figuring that the vote was going to be somewhere between 17 to 20, 21, 22%.
And that's horrendous. That's horrible.
When you figure, Keith, that we have 518,000, I'm going to say that again, 518,000 registered voters.
Registered and able voters.
And able voters. And you get less than 100,000 or so voting. That means that if you're in a car and you got 5 people in the car, one person's controlling everything.
That's true. Like this morning, as I get up, I don't vote. I never voted absentee.
Okay.
My first vote was in 1986 when Jimmy Carter was president. That's the first time I ever voted, or 1980. And ever since, I never missed a vote. And I always voted at the polls. Today, when I went in there at 7:15 on 11 folks, was that 11 folks that voted, and they got this new way you vote and all this other stuff. But it was more people, election workers, than there was folks in the polling voting for the candidate or issue.
I saw that at several locations, Keith. There would be more poll workers there standing out in front of the building than actual people going in.
Yes.
You know, and I would ask the poll workers, you know, what kind of activity have you been seeing? You know, and for most of them, it was pretty slow. I want to say Northwest Activity Center had some activity. And then what's the school over there on Pembroke and Livernois?
That's the elementary school, Pastor.
Yes. They had a lot of activity from what I'm understanding, too.
So as you know, Greater Grace, Greater Emmanuel, Pastor, any voting in Northwest Detroit, you know, those are the most populated areas, but they're the ones that have the most activity.
Yep.
Okay. Then you got Northwest Activity Center. You got two entrances, and so I don't know how many precincts are in there, but I'm just saying, what do we have to do as us political types, Mr. Stephen Grady, that is going to get these people motivated? Is it issues or is it personalities? You know, what is going to be the new formula?
All we got to do, you want to get people to come out and vote? Let Jeezy be the clerk. Let Jeezy be the clerk, because
Jeezy. A lot of these listeners don't know who Jeezy is.
Jeezy is the rapper.
Yeah, okay.
And when Jeezy had his show, they were dressed in their finest clothes. They came out by the dozens and the hundreds to see Jeezy. Some kind of way, Keith, got to tap into the interests of the voters, because the old conventional thought of go to the poll, cast your ballot, it's just not working. We've got to do something a little more revolutionary.
You know, when my first election, I thought I had a chance to win. I was running for Wayne County Commission. I was running against Cheryl Cushenberry and Keith Stallworth. You're talking about name recognition in that community for about 30 years because of Alma and George Cushenberry. They had a legacy. And I looked the other day, I said, how many Williams have ever won any local election or any...
That's a good question.
And I looked into it.
That's a good
It's
question.
about five Williams names, but I was the first one from a Wayne County Commission or City Council or legislative candidacy.
Sure.
And so I was going against this, and I had to make a name. Although Keith Stallworth won, he had 6,100 votes. Cheryl Cushenberry had 4,983 votes. I had 4,900 votes.
Okay, that's not bad.
It was not bad.
That was your first time out?
That was my first
wasn't
time. But guess what happened? Keith had relinquished the seat.
Okay.
Cheryl was appointed, and we ran in a special election because once you're appointed, you got to come back 6 months later and run in the special election, and I beat her by 2,900 votes.
Wow.
But listen what I did, though. There was a race a year before mine, Gil Hill and Joanne Watson.
Okay.
So when Eugene Thompson get here, he can tell you what we did. We created a ballot initiative support Keith Williams.
Really?
While they was out there, the election was going up for Gil and Joanne Watson, I covered the 20 polls in my district, and I had people getting signatures for me.
Okay.
As they was walking in to vote, they was walking out to sign my ballot petition.
That's pretty interesting, Keith, because these days it seems that it's very difficult to get people to sign ballot petitions because I think folks are being just inundated, yes, with so many different ballots, so many different initiatives and things that folks are trying to do. I've caught a couple of folks that told me the ballot was for one thing and it was actually for something else.
Yes.
So some of the integrity of the folks that are carrying some of those petitions too, you got to look at. I generally don't sign petitions.
I don't either. Yeah. But I was creative with mine.
Okay.
And guess how many signatures we got?
How many?
3,000.
Really?
So
wow.
So when I went into that special election, I had 3,000 in the bank. That I had, that we kept in touch with.
Sure.
We phone banked that list. And then the votes I had captured from my previous engagement with Cheryl and Keith Stallworth.
That's why you showed out so well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had a plan of attack.
How
many people would not wait till the election day when they saw another election, they schemed up a strategy to win?
If you wait till election day, you've already lost. You've already lost.
And so what I did, and when I won, I'll never forget this. The first time I lost, I cried because that was my first inclination or first chance at even running for something. But when I ran the third in the special election, man, I had tears in my eyes. I was scared, man. And then when I was down at the election commission, she said, "Keith, we won."
Abana.
Yeah, my sister Brenda was there, who's now deceased.
Yes.
My family was there. It was a celebratory moment that I had won. And so now I understand.
Let me ask you this question, Keith, because we're right now on the verge of having a new mayor.
The first black female mayor in the city of Troy's history.
I understand where you're coming from there.
Okay.
All indicators look as though Mary Sheffield is going to win this election.
Yes.
I'm going to try to say, okay, we'll see what happens after 8 o'clock. For both of them, how are they dealing with, you think, the stress? How is Mary dealing with the stress of potentially becoming the first female mayor of the city? And then consequently, how is Reverend Kinlock dealing with what his outcome could possibly be?
Both of them are looking at the unknown. like me, they was wondering when these votes going to
That's
start.
got to be some tension.
It's some tension. All the work that you put in, all the money that you raise,
Yeah.
and all the persuading to come to your camp.
Yeah.
That's what's going through your mind.
Yeah.
And then you never want to admit it. What if I lose?
Well,
I went through that.
yeah.
I went through that. From 6 to 8, I did not know. I bust my butt to the polls. From 8 to when the polls closed at 8 o'clock, I was nervous. Did I do everything? Did I mail? Did I get my point across?
Yeah.
All that is going through your mind. You be living the campaign.
You start thinking about things that, I should have done this or I
shouldn't
didn't
have
do
done
that.
But see, I had a test run in the beginning that got me prepared for the special election.
Sure.
And then I served 3 terms, then I lost. That was a hurtful day, but I had got a sense that God said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. It's time you go somewhere and do something different." And I'm going to tell you why. I found out that I had prostate cancer.
Okay.
Then I had throat surgery in July, prostate cancer surgery 3 days after the election. Ooh. Then I heard that when Irma Clark ran against me, you got to give her credit. She was a war horse. She'd been through the ranks. She'd been elected several times, and then she won. She beat me. There was no score.
I remember back in those days, Keith, because I remember at that time I was the chief of staff for Minister Rasul Muhammad.
Yes.
The Nation of Islam.
Yes, I remember that.
And we came to your office and we met with you.
Yes.
And Rasul was the type of person, he didn't take to a lot of people, period.
Yes.
But as we were leaving out of there, he turned to me and he said, "I like that guy. He reminds me of Mutt and Jeff." And we laughed about it. We laughed about it. Mutt and Jeff is an old cartoon series that was in the newspapers. I want to say Mutt and Jeff probably came from maybe the 40s, 50s or so, or 60s. And one character would be kind of smart. The other character would kind of play kind of slow, but you would never know who was who. And that was the thing that I think Rasul liked about you. You would play like you were just this regular old guy, but behind that was a deeper fella. Yes. And I think Rasul saw that.
Yes, because, to me it's all about strategy.
Yeah.
It's all about reading people. I'm good at that. Reading the scenarios and the outcomes. And, my father always told me that. He said, study that guy. You got to study your environment. You just can't go. You just can't go into a crowd head first. You got to sit back and watch. What is the dynamics of what you're about to get yourself into? Okay.
Yeah.
And I had strategized the whole thing because I never ran for office. I never ran, but I had to understand the politics. Voting is a combination of all the strategizing, all the friendships that you make, and the outcomes from all of that. Okay. Either you're gonna lose or you're gonna win.
So let's take a half step back and let's draw some comparisons.
Okay.
Okay. You had never run for an office.
Right.
You ran, and you were able to be successful.
Right.
You got Reverend Kinlock now, who's never run for an office.
Yes.
He's running. We'll find out in a couple hours or so if he's successful or not. What do you think are the similarities and the differences between how you were able to run for office and be successful and his campaign this year?
From my perspective, I had to go out.
Here I am interviewing you on your own show.
But we having a conversation.
Right, exactly.
We having a conversation. What happened is he had a base. I didn't. I had to go out and make my base. I had to go sell myself.
He had a huge base.
He had a huge base.
Yeah.
Secondly, I had what you call, I had Eugene Thompson, who was on us for a year.
Okay.
He was my campaign manager. Then I had Ron Wofolk, my chief of staff.
Okay.
And we just strategized by, and then I had
So these folks had some political experience.
Skip Mungo did.
Okay.
Skip Mungo did because the history of his brother Adolph. I had Ron Wofolk. We were just former athletes.
So you had desire.
We had desire.
Okay.
And but more importantly, being in athletic, it teach you about competition. It teach you about strategy. It teach you about only the strong gonna survive. And so my when I was running, I thought this was game day.
Okay.
Game day. Okay. I never forget.
So you drew a lot of sports analogies with your
my quest.
campaign.
With my quest.
Okay.
Okay. I just look at it like this. We played in high school. The games were played between 3 and 6 p.m.
Yep.
The reason being because there was no lights. So we got up to Bay City Central my senior year.
Okay.
We got up there, we rolled down the street, and we saw all these lights and stuff, and then we saw this big stadium.
Big stadium, I know that blew your mind.
It blew us mind. We from the hood. Even my white friend said, "Wow, this is something different." So then we get on the field. I go through warm-ups. I couldn't catch the ball because I couldn't see the ball. Okay.
The glare of the lights.
The glare of the lights. So once we got to run playing, once the game started, going.
Yeah.
They up, boom, 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 21 points on us.
Wow.
So we get to the halftime. Coach says this: instead of getting caught up in the playbook, we got caught up in the lights.
That was it.
We got adjusted. But the first part of the game, I caught my first high school catch for 30 yards.
Okay.
I was on that day. And then ultimately, we tied the game, and we went in overtime because of my 2-point conversion I caught.
Okay.
At that moment, I felt that I was a gamer. I could play this game because I was playing on a different level, going from street satellite football to organized football from a high school level.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference because it's teamwork make the dream work. When you play in organized sports and organized politics, it's a team. But you are the quarterback. Okay, the quarterback's goal is to get us to the goal end zone. So after doing that, that's how I approach politics.
Okay.
I approach politics like this. Instead, I don't get caught up in lights. I'm in my game in the playbook.
Yeah.
I had a playbook. My playbook said we got to execute because you don't win unless you execute. You don't win unless you have a strategy.
Yes.
So now I'm looking at Kinloch today, and I'm saying,
Hello, Moto.
all he could do to get to where he thought he should be. And this is what I mean by that. When the election first started, there was all these forms. Kinloch thought he didn't have to do that. And then what happened is, when it was all said and done, when he lose tonight, it can go back to him not participating in those forms.
Well, I did see a news story where I think he had a comment where he was regretting that he didn't start sooner. So I think he's feeling like his campaign was a bit truncated. And then too, he had, I think, some issues raising money. So I don't know
Hello,
how
Moto.
well he was able to integrate with the different funders.
This is Dexter Post. Keith wanted me to call in.
Going to those forums, it's an exhibition like football, baseball exhibition. You gotta tweak. You gotta do what's necessary to get yourself ready for regular season. Okay, so we're gonna take a station break real quick, and we're gonna come back. Then we're gonna I think we got Ed Saprolas, the premier pollster in the state of Michigan, and he's gonna give his prognostication and his understanding of today's election. We'll be right back.
Detroit, Stand courageous.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
Call 855-993-2087. That's 855-993-2087. 855-993-2087.
Okay, this is Detroiters Speaks, where Detroiters tell us how they feel about different issues that affect their lives. Hey, Ed, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It's great to be active in Detroit, listening to you and the station, and actually people in Detroit having a major day because you're going to be making history in many different ways.
So, what's your feelings about today's election? And can you take us back when both Mary and Kinloch said they were going to run, and when we didn't know that who was going to win, but we know we had some candidates out there was trying to be the mayor of the city of Detroit. So what's your feelings about all of this?
Well, if you go back to the very beginning, I mean, most of the stuff you and I have worked on and working together in projects, we knew Mary Sheffield would probably be the leader of the pack, but we knew there was a lot of other people out there. There was Chief Craig, who could have been a player if he got his act together. We had a lot of different, we had a lot of different people running, but in the end, the people who had a team out there, had some funds out there who leaded with Mary Sheffield and Solomon Kinloch, the pastor from Triumph Church. And one thing that helped Solomon Kinloch was the fact is that he did have a base vote from his parishioners in the community. They were more stronger than the other candidates, so he came in second. The difficulty going into the phase here is we were looking for a major battle. You had the business community backing Mary Sheffield. We had labor movement backing Solomon Kinloch. But the problem is on Solomon's part, the money from the labor unions didn't materialize. So he pretty much was little or no way to communicate with the voters and the closing 60 days of the campaign. So polls have been showing that Mary's been leading and Solomon's fighting back. His debate efforts and some of the issues have been breaking. The concern, the fact that people who had not voted absentee, are they going to be moved as closing days of the week? I think we're still saying Mary should win. The question would be is how big will her victory be?
Ed, when I think about it, that first poll set the stage for what may happen tonight.
Correct.
Could you elaborate on that?
Well, what's interesting is the major poll that we did working together, we had Mary Sheffield essentially at 36%, and Solomon Kinloch was at 17%. And then when we looked at the large undecided, the undecided in the primary went to Mary Sheffield, and nothing went to Solomon to any degree. So bottom line, the numbers we had projected in the poll working with were identical what happened on election night and during the primary. Since then, the large undecided has still been moving towards Mary Sheffield. And part of the reason is, and we've gone back to many elections, is Mary Sheffield is a well-known candidate. Millions of dollars have been spent between soft and hard dollars on her behalf. And Solomon Kinloch has had that base vote. He's still in tracking polls somewhere between 16 and 20%. The questions be, where's the undecided going to go? Right now, even with the undecided vote, Mary still has the advantage. So our polling has showed that Mary's been strong. The poll showed that, the name recognition is Mary's corner, and there's been a movement towards that. And the questions be how large the turnout's going to be. And the older the voter is going to be, that's going to benefit, Mary Sheffield. But the other thing that's very interesting, on the east side of the city, that's been more Mary Sheffield, part of where district is, and then the west side of the city. I mean, the city, Solomon's been doing better, even though it's in the opposite direction where his parish is. So we're going to see the tale of two words where that's going to come up. But the bottom line tonight is how many people voted absentee before the discussions about some issues with Mary Sheffield had doing this and doing that with some contract. But the bottom line, Mary Sheffield still should have victory tonight. And as you know, working on campaigns, whether you're Mary Sheffield or Solomon, you didn't make a mistake in the last day. That I get my people to the polls and I make phone calls. Remember, they can vote till 8 o'clock tonight. So who needs a ride? Who can get to the polls? Do people, are afraid that they're going to close early? So there's all those things going on. No matter how you feel, you can be just as tense in the closing hours, even though you think you won, than you were 2 weeks out when you thought you were leading in the poll.
So tonight, then let's look at it from a strategy standpoint. Who is the winner and who's going to be the loser?
I would think, in strategy standpoint, I think Mary Sheffield had a better structure of a campaign, a team in place to cover the whole city, had the funding organization set up, and had a plan in place long before, this. Remember, Solomon Kinloch actually got late into this race. This was earlier this year. For Mary Sheffield, and you and I have talked about this, she's been running for 8 years.
Yeah. And then she has advantage, too, of the historical name that Sheffield named from the father, from her current father and the grandfather. So she had people had a familiarity of that name.
Well, as a matter of fact, you well know that her grandfather was the one that set up that annual Good Friday session over in Grand River. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so that her grandfather's been a thing. Her dad's been quite active over the years, and so she's been leader. Matter of fact, without his help, she wouldn't have got elected the first time on city council. He was out there raising money for her. Matter of fact, when she had to leave the city for, guess who was the candidate? It was her dad, some 12 years ago. So there is a tradition there. Remember, we've got because in Detroit, you remember up to 63% of the vote can be female voters on election day. Okay. So the fact that we have a woman getting elected the first time, someone from a rich family history in the community who's been on the city council, we even had this type of thing. So Mary Mahaffey, a prominent woman taking lead of city council. Now we have her leading potential to become mayor. The question is going to be, what I think forward, who's going to be there to help her in her first term? Is the business going to be there? As a matter of fact, she's going to need our help more now winning than she did during running the campaign. Because this is where everybody's going to want something. She's going to get a lot of baloney stuff, and the city really has to protect her and work with her more than they did during the campaign.
So Ed, let me ask you a question, and this is Stephen Grady.
Yes, Steve.
I feel as though after the presidential election where Kamala Harris lost, I feel that the women locally were feeling some kind of way because they really put a lot of emphasis on Kamala Harris winning. And when Kamala lost, I feel like they were feeling, okay, we've got to come together and do something. How much of that do you think played into Mary Sheffield being the first female mayor in the city of Detroit and the level of support that she got, particularly from the woman vote, where you say that it's maybe like 63% of the total vote?
Well, what's important here is I think what also happened during the presidential race is the fact that it's not only Kamala Harris's race. You got to remember, Kamala Harris was weak when she ran for president against Joe Biden. You remember the polls that we did, Keith?
Yeah.
She was trailing Bloomberg and Joe Biden in the city of Detroit in that presidential race. As a matter of fact, we're the one you talked with her about. We were seeing the polls, and your Black Caucus was the first Black Caucus in the United States to endorse Joe Biden. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, you were the first because you work in the community. Number two, there's been a very getting tired of the Rashida Tlaib effect, because remember, Rashida was forcing Detroiters and Michigan not to vote for Kamala. So we have a woman against woman thing hurting us. So they're looking for a new woman who understands the city, what's important here, because some people believe Rashida for part of the loss in Michigan. So Mary Sheffield is the new light, the new hope, a new direction. And remember, we don't have young leaders in Detroit. By her winning, she begins to represent that new leadership of young people. Because if you look around the city, Wayne County, Detroit thing, where we don't have somebody of her generation in the early 40s that are prominent in the city and leadership. So this is very key for the youth people moving in the city, staying here, because we have regentrification in Detroit of the younger people, those under 50, and young people with families. And so she's a new direction for the city. So it is important, not only what you said, Steve, but the point looking forward, people are looking for more hope in the city, a new direction, and youth. that vitalizes people because now we have what to do. The same thing with me. I've got grandkids. It's so exciting to see somebody replacing the work that I've done and starting a new task. So Mary's that new hope for the city.
Let me was something that was interesting about Mary that was different than Kamala. Mary understands the streets are talking, and Kamala is the kind of, she was up in that the upper echelon, and a lot of black men thought she was disconnected from them because she was a prosecutor and those kind of things. A lot of brothers went to jail in California because of marijuana and all that stuff, those charges. But Mary seems like she's got the support. Stephen Grady, what do you think?
Well, Keith, hold on. Mary is a much more effective communicator.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
she
Well,
was
first,
very
well,
clear
first,
with
hold
her
on, guys. Remember this: Kamala Harris had never had a message for men in all the years she's been in office.
Right.
Whether California, she ran for president. She had no message for male voters. Okay, Mary's talking to men as well as women because most of the business leaders supporting her are men; they're not women. Okay, and so that's the difference. And the other thing is the fact that she's here. And the other thing is Mary's involved in taking the lead of the campaign. Remember when Kamaris came to Detroit during her last run here for president, it was the movie stars, it was the singers taking the lead. It wasn't Kamala. So Mary was doing the campaigning, and Harris's campaign was always the front for stars and other people. Kamaris never was her first here. It was always somebody else. Mary's here. She's showing her face. And the one thing I've learned in Detroit, people in Detroit, you have to earn the right to run. You just can't be on the ballot. You have to earn the right. They want to know your name and they want to see your face. They didn't get to know Kamala by name or face. Mary's done that.
I feel like Mary ran an extremely effective campaign. Her ground game was crisp. Her fundraising was crisp. Her candidate messaging was crisp. Her third party validators was crisp. I don't see where she really ran a weak campaign at all. I think she was very strong.
I've never said what I said
Well,
to you guys.
Well, here's something else from history. No one has won the mayorship have less between hard and soft money. They didn't spend between $2 and $3 million between the primary and general. Mary will have spent $2 to $3 million between hard and soft money. She has maintained the row of every mayor who's ever won this city, spending between $2 and $3 million between primary and general. All the other candidates were lucky to bring maybe 300 or 400,000 or something like maybe close to $1 million. Mary had the fundraising in place that every mayor who's ever won in this city, starting with Coleman Young, had $2 to $3 million to win with. That's what's the difference. She had pockets giving her money to support her race and get her message out.
You know, but I'm gonna say this about Mary. When I watched the debate, she understands the issues. She's a very polished young woman, and she's a very articulate woman. Okay, and
That's why she got the funding.
Huh?
That's why she got the funding.
Yes, and she had a grasp of what she needed to do to go to the funders to get the money. She understood by her being pro tem city council president. She'd been through the wars. She'd been through the understandings of policy, and so she can get up there and tell a story which I couldn't do.
You know, Keith, you bring up a point, and as you know, I was Brenda Jones' chief of staff for 8 years, and Mary was Brenda's pro tem.
Right.
And I have watched her grow throughout this election season. I am very, very pleased with the growth that I have seen. And I think some of it is due to Council President Brenda Jones putting Mary on Budget and Finance Committee. And that gave her a very good understanding of the inner workings financially of the city. And she's been able to, I think, pull from that. And with her ability to promote a message, help people to understand the financials of the city.
And think about this. She was already tested when she went against Jewel Ware, the chair of the Wayne County Commission. A lady that's been in the wars. She ran the Wayne County Commission because I was there with her, and they put and somebody in Jewel ran against her and she lost. So that right there gave her that catapulted her to another level in respectability from the political community.
Well, you know this, gentlemen. The fact is that who stood at her announcement? it was a representative committee from the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, who has been working with her, talking with her since day one of the campaign. So business was there right from the very beginning, talking to her because they obviously had to believe that she had an understanding of the business, what's going on, and the facts and figures, which obviously helped by Brendan Jones. But that's why, which was unique here, at the fact her first run in the city, the chamber had somebody there the day that the announcement came about.
But what I like about Mary wasn't scared. She'll go on the east side, she'll go on the west side, and she will go anywhere that she can get a vote. I saw her last week. She had her jeans on. She said, "I'm knocking on doors," and so I just think that she was made for this position. Mm-hmm. Now she done earned it, and now she got to manage it. And so
that is true. That is true. And Keith, I want to share one thing that I think, the one thing you and I talked about necessarily on air, you and I get around the whole city. Okay, I get around the whole city. People says, "Well, you're not living in the city there." No, and you're white. Well, how do you do? I said, if you're going to love the city, you want to be impact the city, get to know people, you got to go into all corners of the city. Mm-hmm. And that's what you and I do. That's what Mary's done, and that's why she's being effective.
Yes. So we're going to take a station break, but Ed, always a pleasure. We after the election's over, Saturday's come back and us give you your final opinion about what happened this election and why Mary Sheffield won.
Thank you, and thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for talking to you again, Steve.
Good to talk to you, Ed.
Now.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Car Breakdowns 101. I'm your Professor Ice-T. If your car is out of warranty, a car breakdown could eat you alive. Look at that car. The transmission alone could cost you $3,000. And that engine? How much do you love your kidneys? Don't even get me started on the computer system. That's a small fortune. Do what I did and call CarShield. They get expensive car repairs taken care of so you don't have to. Class dismissed.
Call 800-460-3829.
Discussing. My name is Keith Williams. I have two of the baddest brothers in the city of Detroit when it comes down to politics and understanding how the streets are talking. My friend and co-host Stephen Muhammad, and my friend and the person I love, Skip Mungo. You got to tell this brother that campaign we ran when I ran in 2003. I didn't know nothing about politics, but he gave us the strategy to win. So Skip Mungo, a prominent consultant and have a political understanding about what goes along in Detroit. Hey, Skip, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, well, we've been talking about the election today.
I'm blessed to be here with two of the greatest brothers in
Appreciate you
some
so
of the
much,
realest
Skip.
brothers in
Yeah,
politics.
man.
Yeah.
So
Nothing but love up in here today.
For sure.
So Skip, you've been watching Mary. You've been knowing Mary mighty long time.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what's your assessment and why you think she is going to win tonight, because you have an understanding. You've been in the political wars, and you can give your assessment about what you think.
One, she completely out hustled them.
Yeah.
She's. I heard you talking right before I stepped in, where you said that Mary was everywhere, and she was.
She was.
We seen very little of anything of Ken Locke.
She ran one of the most effective campaigns I've seen in the last few years, Skip.
She has. Mm-hmm. And what Mary, what she did, what I like to call, she created a movement. Mm-hmm. This was a movement. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I'm impressed. Mm-hmm. She had all young people around her. They ran a great campaign, a young folks campaign. They went out. I don't know what the voter turnout is like today. I heard it's pretty low.
It's low. You're gonna probably get about 15 to 17%.
But she beat her base.
Yeah.
She woke them up and they came out.
Yeah.
That's something that Ken Locke failed to do. He never could catch on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He started out early on making mistakes where he wouldn't show up to debates. He took a lot for granted, and that, I think, hurt him truly in the long run.
He thought that 60,000 membership.
Right. I kept trying to count you know, even when you look at the his campuses, as he called them, where do 60,000 people? Where can you hold 60,000 people? Because 60,000 people have come through your doors at one time or another. That don't mean that you have 60,000
an active
full-time
membership,
members.
right?
Exactly. And when you look at the membership that he does have, a significant amount of them don't even live in the city of Detroit, so they're not registered to vote in the city of Detroit. Then you look at the ones who do live in the city. He has a very young membership. I've spoke with a few of his parishioners who said they don't want to mix the two. They don't want their pastor serving as the mayor. Can't serve two masters.
When he made that initial announcement at his big announcement, Skip, that he was going to be the pastor and the mayor, I think that hurt his campaign greatly, because then he had to come back and try to explain what he meant and what he was doing. And I think he started to walk back that I'm going to be both. People didn't see where you could be the pastor of a mega church and organization and be the mayor of a city of 650,000 people.
So to me, timing is everything. When he announced down at Cobalt, where was it, at the Fox
Theater? Yeah, I was there.
Our poll came out the day before.
Oh, right.
The poll at the Michigan Democratic Party, we got hired. It's supposed to give us a poll, and my friend Todd Bedison said, you asked Stephen Grady, y'all had a conversation about the poll. Okay? Imagine your day, that you get ready to sell yourself to the voting public, and a poll come out show you that Mary is in the lead by 38% and he was at 5%.
Yeah, it definitely put a shadow over his day.
Yes. And
it reminds me of when Trump had that big finale on what was his show? Where he The Apprentice.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was the same day that Barack Obama cut into his announcement of who was the last man standing.
Yeah, right.
They caught Bin Laden.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was one of those moves, Keith. And
it was real strategic.
Very strategic.
Because really,
Slick Williams had a poll come out.
Because we had talked about it, It came right. So me and him, when we doing these polls, we figuring out when is the right time to release it. Okay.
Yeah.
And really, that poll came out, and Mary was in the lead, and she never lost it. You think about it, and then the political strategists, what they did, they let that poll languish for 4 weeks before somebody else put a new poll out there. So it
built up steam.
It built up steam, and then it ingrained that statistical knowledge in people's minds. Mary's in the lead. Okay, so Todd Bedison said this to me. She said, "Keith, you a hell of a strategist." Okay, we had that plan, but at the end of the day, another mistake he made. I was over at Northwestern, the church right next to Northwestern. They had their first debate.
Tabernacle?
Tabernacle. We was over at Tabernacle. He didn't show up.
Right.
He didn't show up. So Skip, what I did, I put on Facebook, I said, "Where's Kinlock?"
Yeah.
Then they started fighting me, and guess what? You can go to my Facebook page. It was so long, I had to call the police, man. Okay, they was attacking me. I said, don't get mad at me. Get mad at your ineptitude.
Exactly.
Okay, y'all the one ran a bad campaign.
So I think at that time, Keith, he was trying to reach out directly to the voters. This is what his campaign said, that the same people were coming to these forums, so we want to go out into the community and reach the end voter.
Yes.
But maybe, in Detroit, we look at, okay, a couple times you don't show up, that's cool. But then when you develop a pattern of that, Detroiters are going to be like, you scared? What's up?
That's right.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. In moment, I'm going to tell Skip Munger when I ran, I told you briefly about, he was a strategist behind this whole deal, and tell him when Kwame showed up to the school.
Oh, yeah.
So would you give them an explanation on how
First-
I got myself into politics
First-
from a winning perspective?
Yeah, let me get his disclaimer. I learned from him. He didn't
Okay.
learn from me.
Okay.
Trust and believe that. We were, excuse me, I remember we had made it up in our mind that Keith was going to run for this seat. It was a vacated seat by Keith Stallworth, county commission seat. So we put together a strategy where it was a special election at the time.
Joanne Watson.
Joanne Watson and Gil Hill
Gil Hill.
running to,
For that,
wasn't it Brenda Scott who passed
yeah.
away?
Oh, okay.
It was a vacated seat, so it was a special election. We talking about two special elections.
Okay.
So we come up with a
The
strategy.
one at the city county.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And the one at the city was first. So, we created a kicker card with Keith's face and some information on the back. And the date for the upcoming special election for county commission.
Okay.
Got a few guys together. We hit all of Keith's polls, his polling sites in his
we had
district.
that petition.
That's right. And we had a petition. Created this, it was called a petition of support.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I had a script I gave to my guys. We rehearsed it. I told them, when people are coming in to vote, leave them alone. When they're on their way out, that's when you rush them. Give them the kicker card and ask them about give them the spiel about Keith Williams.
And you only got about what 10, 15 seconds to talk to them
Only
before
about because they
lose it.
walk
Yeah, they're moving
fast, right? But I knew that getting them coming out, they would hold on to that kicker card, put it in the car with them, ride around with them, maybe for the next month.
Okay.
Also, we collected names, addresses, telephone numbers, and email addresses.
That was the key. That was the key.
And we worked them. When I tell you, now that was my part. I created the petition. We put together the script. We got 3,000 names, addresses, and phone numbers. And I felt as though if we could collect these and we work them right, these are votes in our pocket going into the election. These aren't anything we have to guess and scramble and fight about. We got a little over 3,000 signatures. Keith worked every one of them. Knocked on doors, phone calls. How many?
About 2,000.
So those 3,000 came into play.
And tell them about the Kwame moment.
So there was one of the Winter Junior High School
Okay.
on Broad Street.
Yeah.
At the time, Kwame's address was over on Leslie Street.
Leslie. Yeah. I remember
So that was his voting. Now I got guys, man, that I know had hell of a gift of gab.
Okay.
They not necessarily politically. They didn't have a hell of a grasp on politics.
Okay.
These guys, some of them didn't even
But
watch
they
the
knew
news.
how to tell a story.
They knew how to tell the
Yeah,
story. They
yeah,
knew how
yeah.
to sell Keith.
Yeah.
So a guy gets out the car, he walks up to vote, he goes in to vote, he comes out, one of my guys rushed him. Say, here, let me tell you about Keith Williams, a special election coming up, blah, blah, blah. Ran the whole script.
Okay.
He told me, the guy looked at him and said, man, do you know who I am? He said, no. He said, well, I'm Kwame Kilpatrick. I'm the mayor of the city of Detroit. He said, well, let me tell you about Keith Williams.
That's a true story.
Okay.
You get a phone call that night from Kwame's people.
Yeah.
Said, man, listen, man, we got to talk to you. Because they knew this is over. Told them, said, man, you got more people out here than Gil and Joanne.
Wow.
We did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we fed them. We paid them. It was just a terrific strategy.
And it worked. I'm talking about we worked this from A to Z. And it worked. And we pulled it off. And that's, you know what? And the moral to that story was, man, you can't sit around and hope and wait and pray. You got to go out there and get those votes.
You got to go find the
You
people,
got
right?
to. Yes, you do. And that's what we did, man. We turned over rocks. Listen, we looked in corners. We went through alleys. We got those votes.
We went from West Grand Boulevard, Tireman Ever to the worst of the worst, and then we circled back to Sherwood Forest and Bagley Community, and the rest was happening.
Keith was walking up on guys on the corner shooting dice, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, literally.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
But these were voters.
Yeah.
And these were
Absolutely.
voters who looked at Keith like, man, nobody comes around here.
Right.
Ever. You know, we
So this guy must be one of us.
Exactly.
Hey, one time I was on Philadelphia, everybody on the porch was smoking dope. And I said to them, do y'all vote? Yeah, we vote. I said, let me tell you my story.
There you go.
And it was high and everything, but guess what?
They listen to that
But
story.
guess what?
And they remember
It was
that now.
6 people in that house that voted. It was one of them 2-family flats. They was ready. It was on the voting sheet, 6 of them.
That's right.
Okay, so you cannot, because the house is raggedy, you don't know people in there voting.
That's right.
You just can't just say, oh, no, the house raggedy, they don't vote. Guess what? Some of them areas, Philadelphia, Carter, and let me tell you this one.
You better not assume when you're walking down the streets of the hood, because
Yeah.
you'd be surprised the power that's in a block.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
that.
And let me tell you this. When the first time I ran and I lost, I was on Carter Street, and Kwame's grandfather was sitting on the porch. So I went over there to give him my spiel. He said, put your sign in my yard. Kwame's grandfather, and I love him to the day because of that. Then Kwame called him and said he was supporting Keith Stallworth at
Yeah.
the time. Okay? So, you got to be persuasive in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the way you dress, the way you
right.
carry yourself. You can't be arrogant. See, Mary was a different kind of sister. She's a hustler. She's got a little preaching about her, but she was a good candidate.
You know what? You bring up a good point, and this is something that has really been on my mind. I've even posted on Facebook about it. I am so concerned about, okay, this is the first time in 12 years that we've had a legitimate chance to pick a new mayor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Duggan pretty much had it locked in.
Right.
Yeah.
But
He fooled us.
through this process, folks on both sides have become so supportive of their candidate that they are attacking the other candidate.
We're still doing it today in Facebook.
And I know, like, tomorrow there's a unity breakfast, right? And I'm like, we got to start to take a look at unifying our city, because if Mary doesn't get the unification of the city, that's just another thing that she's going to have to deal with while trying to launch being the new mayor, trying to understand the budget, trying to understand all the dynamics, trying to deal with expectations that people have about her.
Agreed.
So the bottom line to me is that
How do we unify ourselves?
But the surrogates got to come together. The titular heads gonna always do what they got to do, but it's us, the surrogates, got to reach out to their surrogates and say, how do we bring peace and how do we move the city forward?
And that's the top as well.
Yeah.
Mary
Yeah.
has to reach out. Kenlock has to reach out. I'm assuming, and I think it's a safe assumption, Mary's gonna win this race. And Kenlock has to do it. It has to be a smooth when he succeeds, when he calls, and he has to reach out to his surrogates. I agree with you. And they need to all come together. We all need to come together.
Yeah.
Like you said, the entire city
City
needs
gotta
to
come
come
together.
together. This city is broken, man.
Yes.
We're broken.
Yeah.
You got
We're going into some rough times.
yes.
You know what? You bring up a good point, Skip. I was looking at the Revenue Estimating Conference. They do them twice a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. This was the fall one done in September. In it, they talked about how the city has a $61 million surplus in the general fund. But the mayor is advising to hold back $42 million of that because we're not necessarily going to be able to collect some of the taxes that we get to go into the general fund. So if we're going to be able to deliver the city services that we have, maybe we got to take a look at that.
Yeah.
She's going to have to be aspirational in her thinking. She's going to have to get some brilliant folks that know, that can understand emerging markets and bring them to Detroit, because back in the day, Coleman had Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors, and everything, and all auxiliaries, all the other industry that went along with that industry. We don't have that more. We got one Chrysler plant in Detroit.
Yeah.
And so she's going to have to find a way. We need tax-paying people.
I was just talking about that, Keith. We need a whole nother industry.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we get money from property taxes, income tax, wagering tax, and state and federal revenue sharing.
Right.
But we need another whole industry that can create an alternative stream of money coming into Detroit so that we can train our youth to be prepared to go into this new industry group, and that'll open up property tax, that'll open up income tax and stuff like that. I don't know what this new industry is. You guys got a thought?
I'll tell you this one thing, and I agree with you, Stephen. I don't have a clue what the new industry is. Maybe we need to look at some type of tech, something, because that's, you know,
because
that's
they
the
thought it
new
was going to
automotive
be
industry.
electric vehicles, didn't
Right.
it?
Yes, they did.
Till they figured out they didn't have enough plugs going on.
That's right.
Can't plug
And then
in.
Donald Trump came in, and he's still on fossil fuels, and he had not made the transition. He sold folks on the fossil fuels, and people been so used to driving gas guzzling cars, they have not made the transition. Mine, I got to plug in the car and sit there for an hour till it get filled up or
Yeah.
get re-energized. And that's the thing, man. They didn't sell it right.
I'm struggling with it myself because I come from the gas
Yeah.
world, and I rode in an electric vehicle the other day, and you stepping your foot down on the gas and it goes, and I'm like, okay, I want to hear some.
It's so quiet.
Very good. My nephew has a electric truck.
Yeah,
He just dropped me off. You know where he's now? Plugging the truck.
Plugged in
It's gonna take
somewhere?
him hours to fill it up. Yeah, so it's definitely And then there's not enough plugs, like you say, around the city. But let me say this, if I can. One thing Mary has to do, and she got to hit and I don't know how she's gonna.
she got to hit the ground running.
Yeah, she does have to hit the ground running. But we're going to have to clean this city up from crime. I know they say the numbers are down, but I don't know how true that is. I know a lot of times, like this administration in particular, they like to fudge those numbers, man. Crime is a serious issue. No one or no businesses will be knocking the doors down to come into the city of Detroit unless we get our hands around the neck of crime and choke it out of here.
And see, the thing is, crime starts with these young folk.
Yes.
And we got to find some other stuff, some other systems to get them in, to get them from the poverty mindset to the prosperity mindset. And the school system has got to be that vehicle to do that. When I got appointed to the Workforce Development Board under Dennis Archer, they had this thing called the Education Advisory Group, and I was chair of that. And what we were trying to do was build relationship, build the workforce of the future, so the city would have employees to handle whatever emerging markets that is coming to fruition. And it worked out well. But you know what the problem was? The guidance counselors was used to doing everything with hands and stuff, and we were trying to computerize the stuff where a kid can go on that computer and find out what it would take. If I want to be a computer engineer, you can go to that software and deal with that. But those folks, those institutional folks, they fought against it, man.
How much further would they be by now?
Yes.
If they would have implemented what you were trying to.
Man, the state of Michigan gave us at that time $10 million.
Yeah.
And guess what? We bought those computers and they stayed in the boxes.
That's something.
Let me make two quick points. Skip, earlier you said that you feel as though there's some fudging of the numbers going on.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with the chief.
Okay.
This is what the chief told me. Look, I have to provide my numbers to the state. I have to provide my numbers to the FBI. I'm not fudging no numbers because that's criminal. So I'm not gonna be involved in that.
But let me say this.
But I understand where you're coming from.
And what I mean, and maybe I should have said fudging. I know you can classify homicides in different ways. If I get into it with you right now, when us get killed, they'll call it a domestic because we were friends, we know each other. Things like that. So I know, again, crime is, I know a lot of people are afraid to go to these gas stations, man. These gas stations, these party stores, people getting, it's just,
bruh.
And it's the perception. If we change this perception where you make Detroit a safe place to come, people will come. They will move their residents, they will move their businesses, but until that perception changes, Detroit is always going to be looked upon as a dangerous city to come into, except for downtown.
So can I just say this to you guys? I've been a politician. I've been a street provocateur.
I know where you're going.
I've been, and I've been, I got Soul Village.
What's a street provocateur?
I want you to explain what a street provocateur is.
You know, I know.
Yeah, and I run this operation called Crazy Detroit Network, and I got Soul Village here with outdoor entertainment. But the job I like is the job I have with the sheriff department, and I'm over special operations. It's called a Quality of Life program. Every Thursday we go out. We have 15 to 20 cars from K9 unit to certified police and reserves. And I can show you some statistics. I have the statistics. Every week I go into a precinct and I give the statistics on what we did that day. I was in the 10th precinct one day and the lady said, it probably took y'all 3 weeks to do this. No, we did that in one day. 4 hours, 5 hours. Arrest, possession, all that kind of stuff that the average citizen wouldn't know.
Sure.
I have that information because I'm there. I'm with them. Okay, police can only do so much. One thing that Ray did, and I think it was a wonderful thing, he got the sheriff department back into the community.
Yeah, that's important.
Okay, it's important. By law, we're jailers.
Right.
But
Jailers and court security.
in court security. But what I'm telling you, in parks. But what I'm saying, this Operation Skip and Brother Muhammad, it is effective, and we turn our numbers into diabetes.
Yes.
Each precinct get our numbers. So it's no fudging, it's reality. And all I know, the two things when we come together for roll call, this is the two things: stay together, and what hospital's in the location.
I understand that.
I get it.
You get it?
That's where GSW gunshot wound gonna end up.
Yes. Or when our officers
Get hurt.
get hurt,
Yeah.
we got to know what the nearest location, hospital location, so we can get him there. And togetherness is one can't just go out on his own. We stick together because during that period last year, do you remember because the police got killed in Melvindale? He went solo. When you go solo in this business, it can be detrimental.
Sure.
And so I seen it from my perspective.
Yes.
I see it every day. And so some of these brothers be talking that stuff. It's dangerous out there.
It's dangerous.
You know, it is dangerous. And we talked earlier about putting a lot of emphasis on the youth.
Yes.
But for me, it's the households.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Over this election, you had candidates going door to door, knocking doors. They call them knocking doors.
Yes.
So you can interact with people in a house.
Right.
Wouldn't it be beautiful if we had some folks going knocking doors, say, hey, how you all doing in here? What are some of the issues that you have going on? Because you've got house up on house in our city where behind on the other side of that door, it's all kind of hell going on.
Yeah, it is.
And the kids, they're at the bottom of the totem pole. Whatever's going on in that house, they're at the bottom of it.
And they catching it.
They're catching it.
So what do we want to call them? Angel door knockers? There's an angel.
That's a good idea, man.
That is a great idea.
We got to do something.
Yeah, because she should hire. It's just like, remember the insurance guy used to knock on your door?
The insurance guy knew everything.
Yeah, that guy that he had that black.
Big, that's right.
that big case.
That big briefcase, yeah.
And every day he was collecting, every Friday he was collecting insurance, and debit and credit insurance.
That's right.
And did nobody mess with the insurance?
Nobody
guy.
bothered the
Nobody
insurance
bothered
And
man.
nobody messed with the number man either.
No. They didn't.
There goes the street provocateur.
Hey, they had policy too.
Right.
Yeah, policy.
Exactly.
So I just think if Mary was smart, she get folks, and that's a brilliant idea. What you just
We've
said.
got to do something.
Hold
We
on.
got to peel the onion back on this crime problem.
Dude, now you guys out here doing it, you know, but we need some like Keith said,
Yeah.
we need some institutional door knocking.
Yeah.
We need, what you said is brilliant.
Yeah. We got to do that.
We need police people in the administration, the police department. They need I think the last chief, White,
Yes.
I think he had kind of started something like this. Didn't he?
Walk a mile in the community.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right. And Medicine's continuing. And I told Ray he should do it from the sheriff's perspective. But let me just say something interesting about that sheriff car. If you go back to Barney Mayberry and all that,
Yeah.
the sheriff was the control of the politics and the police. When they see a sheriff car in the hood, it's a different perspective.
Oh,
It's
yes,
a different
it is.
perspective from a police car.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
You're
is.
right.
From a regular city.
They said, what is the sheriff doing in the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah.
Who is he coming to get? Okay? And that's, man, I'm telling you, you ought to see the people. They coming out the doors. Like this, on Dexter Waverly, they always have trouble on that little block. And them little brothers
That
see
little
us.
store right there on the corner.
But
yeah.
there's for two family flats over there.
I know
too.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, from the park. There's always something. And man, I can tell you in every area from 6th precinct to the 2nd precinct, from the 8th precinct, I know the dynamics. Because the streets are talking.
Streets do
Streets
talk.
talk.
They talk.
Streets do talk.
Yes, they do.
And I'm gonna tell you, when they see us coming, but I didn't really understand what that K9 dog was about. That K9 dog is powerful. He can sniff out guns, drugs. He can sniff out stuff that we can't sniff
Those
out.
dogs are well trained.
Well trained.
We proposed, when I say we, in the ombudsman's office some years
Okay.
back, we had a meeting with James Craig, Chief Craig. Speaking of canines, and, at this time, they were, again, it was, just like right now, but you have murders, you have missing people who are missing. You have a lot of missing people out in
Yes.
Detroit. And we proposed that, because I thought that probably a lot of these bodies are inside some of these vacant houses. And you'd be surprised at some of these houses that has been demolished that have turned into makeshift graves. So we proposed that the city of Detroit, when they award these contracts, that they put into cost sending a cadaver dog in. Before you go to tear a house down, they send a cadaver dog to go in and look for
Yes,
bodies that
yeah.
again, because you'd be surprised that I'm
Yes.
willing to bet you that a lot of these
It's
homes,
real talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when, and working with some of the CVI groups, before CVI really took a formulation,
Sure.
we just used to go out into the streets,
Yeah,
different
I know y'all
groups,
did.
and we would do stuff. So if it was a rapist out there, if it was a murderer out there that was killing women, we go out and try to find these people.
Yeah, you did.
And we went in some of these houses and we did find some bodies.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It could be for poverty, could be for suicide and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of stuff going on in this community that the average citizen just don't know about.
Just don't know about
That's
it.
true.
But what I'm saying to you guys, man, is that today could be very significant if Mary has a plan to try to bring us all together, CVI groups, but then don't forget about PAL, Courageous, and all these other groups that's playing, that's handling the sports perspective.
That's right.
Because those bad kids should be in a sports, put in some kind of sports perspective or trying to get some training, because sports do train a kid.
Oh,
It trains a child the way he should go. When he gets old, he won't depart from it.
Gives them discipline as a growing up.
Yeah, right.
I wanna say something different, because I don't want to put out into the universe that our kids are bad.
No, they're not bad.
And I know what you meant, though. Here's the thing: the CVI groups go out and they find kids who probably are the most affected by people not taking care of.
So then
And they help to identify them and get them up to a state where then they can pass them over to
that's what it does.
Courageous.
Yeah, it's right. Because
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something. Some of your greatest athletes have been incorrigible kids.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
On TikTok,
But they had a coach or somebody that got
their
some love
attention.
into
Yeah.
them, got their attention,
That's right.
and walked them through.
Man, today I was listening to George Gervin. They said George Gervin's first
Iceman.
contract, Iceman, was $50,000. And they said, what did you do to? He said, well, you got that $50,000. What did you go buy first? He said, diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging in the scene with a blaze. He can say he got a triple black Eldorado. He said, and then brother said, "Watch your." He said, "That's what we do in Detroit.
That's what we did.
That's what we did." See, back in those days, they used the vernacular game, recognized game.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
You know, the pimps wouldn't let you. You didn't see pimps fighting amongst each other. It was
Not at all.
respect.
Not at all.
It was-
and you know what, Keith? You bring up a good idea. Those street fellas, they could see a kid that has some potential,
and they can become
they would
agent.
protect that kid,
right?
And tell the other folks, look, y'all doing what y'all doing, leave this one here alone.
That's right.
Because they could see something was going to happen real positive with
Hold
this
on,
kid.
I was a recipient of that.
Yeah.
A kid told me, he said, "Keith, I knew you was gonna be something because you always had that football in your hand."
Yep.
Okay, and see, my study time was with my father. My father had these bad feet. It runs in the Williams family. Okay, so I'm scraping my daddy's feet, and as we looked at football together, we strategized while I'm scraping his feet. Okay, I said, "Why did I have to get that chore?" Okay, but
He was preparing you, bro.
he was
Showing
preparing
about
me
the streets, right?
about the streets, but we had a conversation. And some had conversation in meeting rooms, suites. I had conversation with the feet.
See, back in those days, Keith, you know, we all grew up under the street lights.
The street lights.
That's right.
The street lights come on, you better be in the house.
That's right.
Not on the steps, not on the porch, in the house. And I can remember my mother, street light flicker, she called my name all this. Seemed like her voice would just flow 3, 4, 5 blocks,
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Oh yeah, you can hear Steve.
yeah.
Right.
But what it did, it caused other kids that I grew up with wouldn't involve me in certain things.
Yeah.
You know? And I wanted, hang out, be with my friends, do what we doing.
Yes.
But they're like, nah, this ain't for you. Now most of them kids that I grew up that was out after the street lights was on, they in jail, they in prison, they dead, they strung out.
A lot of them.
Lot of 'em.
I grew up with a lot of guys. Now I took a different path.
Okay.
Because I did jump onto the street. But I still had people looking out for me. People telling me every day that this ain't for you. You need to go this. And I was fortunate enough to leave the streets and do right. You know what I'm saying? But
That's a good word, fortunate.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Yeah.
I thank God every day. I
Yeah.
tell people ask me why I won't dye my hair black. I'm like, I wear this with a badge of honor.
Yeah.
This wasn't supposed to be here. Trust me. A lot of guys I come up with, man, didn't live to see 30.
Yep.
Seriously. I have a real good friend of mine, my best friend. We've been friends for over 50 years.
Okay.
We've done everything together. You name it, we've done it together. We decided both to leave the streets together. We went back to school.
good.
He went on to law school. One of
Okay.
the baddest attorneys in the city of Detroit
Okay,
right now. Oh yeah.
okay.
And he was certified street. So what it takes is for people like us, and I see you doing it. I know you do it with your courageous games. I see you out in the streets for real.
For real, for real.
Yeah. So that's what it takes. You know,
That's right.
it's become a cliche. It takes a village
Yeah.
to raise a child, but it's so true.
Yeah.
So true. Even when I was in the streets, there was I was embarrassed to be around certain people. They knew what I was doing. My mother's friends, my mother, my father. I never pulled a big car up in front of our house. Never. Because although I knew I was doing wrong, I still it was respect. And I think that's what we've gotten away from.
Yeah.
Respect. These young guys, a lot of them understanding is zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, number one, they don't think they're going to live very long.
They don't.
Number two, some of them learn their criminal skills from somebody else in the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's inherited.
It's in here.
And it's not like they have somebody that's looking out for them and say, look, young blood, you don't want to do that. You want to do this.
Exactly.
So as we bring this conversation to a close, and this has been a segment called Streets Are Talking. This has been our segment. What would be your final thought on this election, and what would you tell Mary? How can you help Mary accomplish her whatever her goals is to try to heal the city and bring prosperity to the city?
I think that the unity,
Good question.
which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Bringing both sides together. And we all need to rally around Mary. We need to embrace her, whether you were on this side or that side. This city, again, there's a lot of troubling times looming over the horizon in the city of Detroit, financing. So I think Mary needs to embrace those who are on the opposite side. Those on the opposite side need to embrace Mary. We all need to come together, and we need to make this thing work. We need to pray for Mary. We need to make this thing work. We need to support her and make it work.
Stephen?
I agree with that, Skip, and I want to take it a step further. Reverend Kinlock is a spiritual man, right? And I think originally when he saw some of the problems and issues in the city, he realized we're suffering from spiritual issues. It's risen to a level that's like above all of our pay grades. We've got to enact God into our solution.
I agree.
So it would be so great if our spiritual leaders were able to come together with the business leaders, with the community leaders, under the leadership of Mayor-elect Sheffield. I say it, and let's be real about stuff. If we don't start to be real about stuff, it's just going to continue and get worse. It's not going to get better. So I definitely support what you're saying. We got to unify, all hands on deck.
And let me, if I may, Mary certainly has her finger on the pulse of this young community. And that's what's key. That's what's important. So, again, if I was advising Mary, I'd tell her to keep her finger on that pulse and get these young folks together. The Nation of Islam, they've been doing it for years.
Yes, sir.
Nation is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, reformers in society, in the prison systems. I tell people, when you join the Nation and you serious about that, you don't come home and relapse.
No,
you don't come home and go back.
That's true.
So we need to take a page out of those books. From the Nation, from the minister, from people like you, Keith, again, with your courageous games. I hope that the administration would embrace these programs, the new administration, and I'll say it too, Mary-elect Mary Sheffield.
Yes.
Again, she has her finger on that community, on them young folks. She has her finger on that pulse. And she just needs to, again, we need to embrace her.
Yes.
We need to pray for the city. I think it's going to be all right. I think we're going to be all right.
As we bring this to a close, and I was just thinking about the election, it's a new generation.
That's right.
But we still have the aging population in the city. And to my group, in my age group, we need to respect the youth. But more importantly, the youth got to respect the aging process. And there's got to be some coming together of these two in the churches, in the business sector, and all this other stuff. And more importantly, one group just can't keep getting it all, and the rest of us struggling.
That's right.
And there's got to be some happy medium. I think she needs to bring the black business community together, and we need to strategize on how can we make it better for the rest of us. And then we need to get the spiritual community, and they need to put us on a trajectory of prosperity from the standpoint of the religiosity, but more importantly, the love that we're supposed to have for one another. And then
because we talk about Detroit love.
Detroit love.
Yeah.
And I just say, that familiar Bible verse says, if my people will call by my name, will humble themselves and pray, and seek my faith,
and turn from their wicked ways,
then you will hear from heaven.
That's right.
And it will heal the land.
That's right.
And the land Detroit's land has got to be healed.
That's right.
And my father has a saying, nobody's better than you.
That's right.
We all need the opportunities to grow together, love together, and be prosperous together.
Yes.
And Mary, I'm with you 100%. And don't get upset if somebody says something differently. That's a part of the growing process. Because leadership is leadership. And then, Lehigh Coker once said, lead, follow, or get out the way.
That's right.
So God bless everybody. Thanks for the segment of Streets of Talking from Detroit to Speak. please support the Crazy Detroit Network. We're trying to get kids involved, media folks involved, because the Crazy Detroit Network has only 2 black internet radio stations out here. The guy from WJZZ and me. And so we got the publishing end of this now, and we got Soul Village out here, and I'm willing to. I got stocks I want to give out. We can grow together because my day is coming to an end like everybody else's, and we got to be realistic about this. But at the end of the day, we don't love one another. All this talk is you can kick it to the outside, but we got to bring each other to the inside. God bless. Let's have a wonderful election night and go celebrate with Mary Sheffield.
Amen.
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 Life can be full of risks.
Clean up on aisle 5. Sounds like my life right now. Just one big mess.
What's going on?
It's my property taxes.
What?
I am behind, and I am so worried that I'm going to lose my house. I can pay some of it, but I can't pay it all at once.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Eric Sabri, the Wayne County Treasurer. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to tax foreclosure. We have assistance programs to help. Visit us at treasurer.waynecounty.com, and we'll help you keep your home. We're here to help.